Because of your amazing responses to the last video, we're going to continue this design system series. So I just want to say thank you everyone, and I really appreciate it. That video is by far the #1 on my channel, as because of the how quick the response was to that video. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and let's continue with this design system. And it's going to be a super beginner tutorial, so you don't need to worry about the complex stuff. All right. In order to continue, I'm going to add another button, which is going to be the bigger size of this button, which is going to be used in our desktop. So what I'm going to do is just first, let's just have more space for a button, like so. And then select your component and go to the Properties tab, create another variant and call it desktop. You can call it like, I don't know, you can call the small ones dense and the bigger ones by default would be the default ones basically. So, but for now I'm gonna go with desktop, and by default is gonna be false. By the way, let's just for now check our icon to true, so we can see what we're working with. All right, and then by default the desktop value is false, and let's just duplicate these ones to create the bigger one. Okay, so first thing first, I'm gonna increase the text size, and because we created and categorized our text styles in the last video, as you can see, changing that is super easy. So I'm gonna just use desktop here. So link, and underneath that says desktop. All right, and we created the auto layout from these ones, if you remember, just to match the height with the icon. I'm gonna change that to 24 as well, because right now it's 28. So let's just decrease the top and bottom padding tad bit, like so. And then as you can see, they look kind of similar to our small buttons, but once we change the spacing, it's gonna look a lot better. So let's go and change the spacing. For the left and right spacing, I'm gonna go with something like 20 or 24. Yep. And for the top and bottom padding, I'm gonna go with 16. Again, for the pill shape one, I'm gonna go with 28 because that looks more appealing because of its pill shape. And by the way, we can, as you can see, there's too much space even though we use 28. So you can always modify your button to make them customized. In order to do that, you can basically click individual padding and change the left padding to 24 or something like that. Then you can see it's balanced. But I'm not going to do that in this tutorial. So let's just continue. I'm going to update the top and bottom padding to 16, like so. Let's just update the corner radius of this one as well, because now it's a little bit bigger. We need more corner radius. Let's go with 8 pixels, like so. And we successfully created our bigger buttons. And just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna add another style to this. By the way, we didn't change the value of the desktop, so these would be true. I'm gonna add another style, which is gonna be the outline version. So again, let's select your component, go to properties, add another variant, and call it outline. The default value was gonna be false. Then we just select all of these, hold Alt or Option on your keyboard, click and drag like so, and then set the outline value to true. Let's just style it right now. So I created some other variables as well. So as you can see, I renamed the text to body text just to add some more text, actually text styles, text colors. And as you can see, I added placeholder. We're gonna add more items to this, and we have full control over our variables, and we can add and update in future. So don't worry about that. And I also add one text here to our primary, and I set it as 600 because because of a better contrast. Obviously you can use the 500, that's okay, but always make sure your contrast is checked and actually passes UI wise. So yeah, and always make sure go to the variable scoping and then click on edit variable and basically uncheck the properties that you don't want to use this variable. So for example, then this is the body text, or basically the text that we're gonna the text colors that we're gonna apply to our text throughout the design. But you don't want these to basically be redundant and appear for the fill, frame, shape and stroke. So you want to uncheck all of those and just check it for the text. Same here for the primary. As you can see, for the fill color, we uncheck text and stroke. All right, that's just a little bit of information that you needed to know. Let's just restyle this. So I'm gonna select these outline ones. Let's go find the icon and text colors, and when you select all of these and go to the right panel, you can see there is a title that says selection colors, and you can change all of the colors by just clicking on that color and just remove it or change it to whatever you want. So let's go with the text ones, and I'm gonna hit negative text and find our primary and apply the blue color to it, because I want the button to be transparent and have some outlines around it. And for the border, actually for the icon as well, since our icon uses a border, we already have that stroke color. All right, and let's just remove the fill color, something like that. And in order to add a stroke, while having them all selected, I'm gonna go to the stroke and search the colors. I'm gonna go with primary, and as you can see, we already created the stroke color the same for the icon. Let's just tap on it, and voila, as you can see, we have successfully created our outline buttons. By the way, you can also apply that text color to your icons. So what you can do for scoping is basically for the primary ones here, just check the fill color and the stroke color as well, not the frame one, just a shape and a stroke. And as you can see, it's gonna match when I select it. So let's change these ones to be the same as our button. So let's go with text, and right now if I zoom in, you can see that they both have the same color. All right, that is our button. It's gonna be super simple. Alternatively, you can just duplicate this and create as many as you want, but I'm just gonna stop here and continue with the other components. All right, let's go continue with the other components. So the next thing I'm gonna create is an input text, actually a text input that we're gonna use to create drop downs. We can use it to create text areas, and basically we want to continue creating and completing our form controls. So in order to do that, just for the sake of this tutorial, I want the height of my inputs to be the same height as my buttons. So in order to prevent any extra effort, I'm just gonna duplicate these and continue. And the style, I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna style it. I'm gonna show you how we can add these the different sizes and basically add buttons, add icons next to the text input. So let's just go and duplicate this one. So I'm just gonna select this one, hold Alt or Option on my keyboard, click and drag and move it over here. Okay, first thing first, what I'm gonna do is just detach this one from this component. In order to do that, what you need to do is just right click, and in this menu, come around over here, and it says detach instance, or alternatively you can hit Control Alt B. So we're gonna hit Control Alt B just to remember some of the hotkeys. Control Alt B, and right now, as you can see, it's detached. Let's rename it to text input by hitting Control R, and then let's just style it first. Obviously, we can have icons at both left and right. I'm just gonna duplicate this one and move it to the right by hitting right arrow key, like so. And then let's style it. Actually, I need to add some more color tokens to my variables in order to style this input. So what I'm going to do is, again, open my local variables, and let's create another collection. Create collection, not collection, sorry, my bad. Let's delete it. Let's go to color tokens again, and let's create another group here. So let's create a variable, create variable color, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna call it maybe default. Yep, you can rename it to anything. Let's go with default slash, and it's gonna be border, like so. So body text, default. Alternatively, you can fit all of these inside our default, but I want to have my text for the body always separated. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so in our default group, I'm gonna set the border to, let's choose chilled gray, and I'm gonna go with maybe 100. Let's apply it to our border here. So stroke, let's go with default and border. Yep, like so. And then you can add another one. So you just can duplicate this one and call it border active, and just change the chill gray to maybe primary, or you can change it to like 800. And for example, let's just say this is an input. If I change the border to the border active, like it's selected, you can see that you can easily manage your prototypes with it. So yeah, that's just a quick tip. Let's just undo that. I'm going to show that in future. All right. Now, first thing first, we need to figure out the resizing of our input. As you can see, this doesn't act like an input. First, we need to make sure that this button fills the text fills the whole place. First, let's change it just to change the text to placeholder or input placeholder. I don't like the text style for this input because that's that was meant to be for the button. So let's just change it. Let's close variables. Change the text styles from link to body. I want it to be thinner. And also change the color, color of these. Let me just make them a little bit thinner as well. So let's just change the color of the content of our text input to it can be placeholder, something like that. Yep, it might look a little bit like disabled, but I think that's okay right now. When you look at it from a distance, it is readable and you can use it. So let's just set we need to set a fixed width for our input to start with. I'm gonna go with like 280. And as you can see, this looks nothing like an input because input is usually left aligned, and we can start typing from here. So what we need to do is basically fill the whole space. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that our input placeholder fills up the whole space regardless of other elements. So let me put it this way. The width of this input placeholder should be dynamically updated with resizing this, so we can reuse this throughout our design, and we don't need to worry about like resizing this every time you want to create. In order to do that, what you need to do, you need to do two things right now, because we have one text and we have another frame and auto layout, containing that. So let's just do it. Select your input placeholder, go here, and from this drop down just set it to fill container. And because we are using auto layout, this option is available. For the like frames and other stuff, it's not available. It is only for auto layout, so make sure to use auto layout always for your components. So let's just go with fill container. All right, as you can see, this frame is getting updated with the size, with the width of my whole frame. Let's just undo that. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna set this, the width of this the same as its parent. So this one is gonna be updated as well. So let's just select it, go here and set it as fill container. And as you can see, the width gets updated automatically. Even if I remove this one, doesn't matter. It just fills up the empty space. So that's a good design. That's a good organization to create your input and add it to your components. All right, now we're in a stage that we can convert this to a component. So let's just do that. But before doing so, let's add one title to this. So I'm gonna add a title here. In order to do that, what I'm gonna do, just hit T on my keyboard and type input title, like so. Let's decrease the size of it to 12, like that. Change the text color to body and place it here. Let's see how much it's separated. It's 6 pixels. Let's go with 4 pixels. And in order to create an auto layout, you just select both of them and hit Shift A on your keyboard. Now you have your auto layout successfully created. Obviously, we're going to use variables for the spacings here. So let's go with 4, like so, and call it input or text input container, like so. Now we can convert it to our component. Let's just hit Control Alt K, and we have successfully created our first input variant. So we just need to do the same thing that we did with these buttons. So let's just go ahead and do that. First, I'm gonna connect these two texts so they can be updated without selecting them. In order to do that, again, select your component, go to Properties, Add Text. The first one is gonna be title, and the value is gonna be input title, the same as we put there. All right, let's add another one, and that's gonna be placeholder, and this is also gonna be input placeholder, the same we wrote. And just select these texts, and from here you can apply that. So this connects that text to your text property. So this is title, let's go with title, and this is input placeholder, let's go with placeholder. And just to show you what it does, I'm just gonna select this and hold Alt and duplicate it, basically use this component. And as you can see, the title is editable from here. So I'm gonna go with your name, and this here can be name, something like that. All right, let's just delete it. And we're gonna do the same with these icons as well. So let's just create 2 instance swaps. One is gonna be left icon, Let's pick an instance. It's going to be icon placeholder, like so. Create property. Let's create another one. Instance swap, right icon, pick instance, and it's going to be again icon placeholder, create property, and just connect these to the related property. So the left one is going to be connected from here, apply instance swap property, and it's going to be left icon. The right one is going to be the right icon. All right, now let's create two booleans to make sure that we can hide and show these icons whenever we want. In order to do that, again, you go select your component, go to properties here, create boolean properties, and let's call it left icon or show left icon. It's going to be false. Create properties and create another boolean show right icon, and by default it's going to be false. Then, or you can set it as true. It 100% depends on your choice, but I'm gonna go with the default. The right one is gonna be false, but the left one is gonna be true. So let's set the left one as true. All right, now we're gonna connect their opacity or the layer option to the property that we created just now. So let's select this left icon, go to layers here, right section layer, and then hit this icon. You can see that the icon is the same everywhere. You just need to connect it to that property. You just need to find that. For example, in the text ones, you see, let me disconnect it. You can see that the icon is the same. You just need to connect it. This means that our variants are basically gonna be a lot easier to handle in future. I'm just gonna show another example after I complete this text input container. So let's go to the layers, apply boolean property, and select show left icon like that. And for the right icon, again, let's go to layers and select show right icon. And because we set that as false by default, you can see that it's hidden right now. All right, and I think we can start adding other variants to this. You can add field state, you can add typing state, you can add active state. Alternatively, you could add other state to your button as well. So maybe we can do that in future, but it's gonna be super easy, so no need to. I already created some other videos about these. If you want more advanced one, just check them out. But for this video, we're just gonna go with as you know these, and we're gonna keep it as simple as we can. All right, so let's just duplicate this one and just test it. And as you can see, let me increase the oops, we forgot something. Let's go back and right here, because we created another auto layout out of this one. As you can see, the resizing doesn't update this, so we want to make sure that this is also dynamic. In order to do that, again, select your text input and go here and set the fixed to fill container. All right, now we just set some fixed width to this. And as you can see, if I duplicate it, you can also set this one as, or hard content is okay. You don't have to necessarily do that, but yeah, you get the idea. Just select it, duplicate, and put it here. And as you can see, if I resize it, everything gets updated size-wise. All right, let's test it out. I can hide the left icon. I can add right icon. I can change the right icon here if I add more icons to my design system. And alternatively, I can change the input placeholder, for example, your name, something like that. I can change the title as well. So yeah, here you go. You get the idea on how you can create a simple input component. And again, we're gonna go and create the desktop size as well. In order to do that, I'm gonna select this one, go to my properties, create a variant, and let's just rename that variant to desktop, the same as our button. By default it's gonna be false. And then if I increase the size of this one so I can create it, I'm just gonna duplicate it, and what I'm gonna do is just set the value to true, and I'm just gonna basically copy everything we did here, so basically this input matches the bigger button as well. So let's see, the text style is 16. Let's select the input placeholder text and set it as desktop as well. As you can see, we already created these texts on the previous video. If you want to check that out, I put the link down in the description. So this is the part 2, and you can see the part 1 on the previous video. All right, like so. Let's update the spacing as well, like we did, and let's update the button spacing here as well, so it's 24:16. We're gonna do the same here, so it's 18. Let's go with 24, and I think 24 is too much, and left and right spacing doesn't matter in an input that much as it matters in a button. But you can go with 24. You can do basically what looks visually better to you, and obviously you need to follow the guidelines, so make sure you do that as well. So yeah, the input title looks okay, and let's just increase this one to like 375, something like that. And we also created our inputs, like actually. Okay, if you want to add other variants to your components, you can do that. This is just the start, so you need to add, if you want to create a complete design system, you need to add different states to your input container. But that would lengthen the length of this video, so I'm not going to do that. If you want to check that out, I have other videos in my channel about creating a complete design system from scratch. This is a super beginner tutorial, so you don't need to worry about that if you're a beginner. But if you want to level up your design system, you absolutely need to add all the states, otherwise your design system is not usable. So this is just for learning this file. You don't use this on a real life product. This is just to start and basically keep it simple, just to get some experience, just to improve your Figma skills. And yeah, that's the main point. So next thing, we're gonna create some tabs. What are tabs? So basically you've seen in apps or websites, you switch the content of a container by tapping on the tabs, and you basically have many of them in many products. You have bottom tabs, you have top, like tabs in the top section of your mobile application or website. So in order to demonstrate it, let's just create it. We don't need to explain it. In order to do that, I'm gonna again use this icon. Let's just duplicate it like so, and then I'm gonna create a text. Let's hit T on my keyboard and just type tab 01, something like that, or you can set it a tab item. Let's change the text to sub headline, or I'm gonna go with body for now. Yep. Okay, let's add another text color to our variables. So it's gonna be body placeholder, and another one, maybe I can use tab or I can use subtle. You can basically have a system for naming your body text, or basic text. If you want to go deep on how I create them, again, I have other complex tutorials on my channel, so make sure to check them out. I have a complete playlist on how to create a design system. We are continuing that. That tutorial is gonna be dynamically updated as I see if any new features came across like on Figma. So you don't need to worry about the updating. So you just need to watch those tutorials and continue with them. All right, let's go with subtle, chill gray, or let's call it subheadline or subtitle. Sorry, subtitle is a better one. So let's go with chill gray. And since it's not a placeholder, it's gonna be a little bit darker. I'm gonna go with 500, like so, and select both of these and set those as subtitle, like that. Subtitle. Okay. And now let's create an auto layout out of this one. Just select both of them, hit Shift A. This is an auto layout. Set the variable to 8 pixels. And next, we're gonna basically create its active state. First, what we're gonna do is just add some spacing. So from left and right, I'm gonna add maybe 6 pixels. No, that's too low. 12 pixels, yeah. And top and bottom maybe 8 pixels. Yeah, something like that. The height is 40. You can create this smaller if you want. Then what you can do is basically, we're gonna add a stroke color right now, but first let's add its color token variable. Let's go to default. So we created border and border active. So we have consistency throughout our design. And we're just gonna add that stroke here. So let's go with border. It's gonna be like so, but we don't need the border for the left, top, and right. So what we can do, Figma introduced a new feature a couple of months back. You see this icon, it's for strokes per side. So if I click on it, I can easily select the ones that I want to be active. So let's go with the bottom one only. And as you can see, we created our tab. Yep, the size actually is okay. Let's convert this to a component quickly, like so. Rename it to tab, and then let's add a variant, and the variant is gonna be called active, and by default is gonna be false. And let's just duplicate this one and call it true. In order to make it active, I'm just gonna style it a little bit differently. So let's change it to text, this one as well. And let's change the text style to maybe link, something like that. So it's a little bit bolder. And for just sake of this tutorial, let me increase this one a little bit. All right, and change the color of the border to border active. Oops, let me change this one to the black as well. You can add another color for this, but I'm just gonna go with body, just to match it. We don't have the body there. Let me go to body, front frame shape and stroke. Close it and body. All right, let's also increase the size of this a little bit. Okay, now we have a default tab and active tab. So next thing, you can add another property, which is going to be Boolean, just to remove this icon. So let's just do that as well. Let's create a Boolean and call it icon. By default, it's going to be true. Okay, just duplicate them. Increase the size of this. Change the active, not active, just select these two. Sorry, you don't need to duplicate them, my bad. It was for the Boolean. For the Boolean, don't need to duplicate. You just select these two and connect their layers to icon, like so. So that's a lot easier. All right, that's our tab. And now we can create our tab group. In order to do that, I'm just gonna choose this one, duplicate it here. All right. Then I can choose how many tabs I want. For example, let's say I want 3 tabs here. I'm just duplicate them and move them, move them next to them and keep them as a group. I'm gonna hit Shift A to create another auto layout. I'm gonna make sure the first one is active. And as you can see, I can easily create tabs, and you can play around with the spacing. So let's go with field container. So whenever I resize it, everything gets updated. First, let's set the alignment to center. So as you can see, the width gets updated whenever I resize them. You can create many components out of this one. So for example, you can add another one here. You can have 5 tabs in a row, and you can basically create tabs component. So this is our building block. Then we can create another component out of this one. So when I created this, I'm gonna convert it to a component like so and call it tab group or tabs group. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add some variants, and the title of variant would be number, and this one is gonna be 5. Then let's just create an auto layout for this. We can use auto layout for the component as well, so don't need to worry about it. So just duplicate this one, call it 4, duplicate one more time, call it 3 and 2, and just remove some. And as you can see, you have successfully created your tabs. You can resize it easily, so you don't need to worry about that. Alright, we successfully created our tab and tabs group. So basically, I think we covered every Figma feature that you need to know while creating a design system. For prototyping a design system, I'm gonna create other videos, so that's gonna be also a beginner tutorial. So just please examine with these if you need. But yeah, that is the end of this tutorial, and let me know if you want any other tutorial related to design system. So thank you for watching. Leave a like, a sub to the channel would be very nice. Again, I appreciate your support. I will continue to create better tutorials. I'm gonna improve the quality, and hopefully I'll see you in the next tutorial. Cheers.